Good morning, everyone. My name is... Good morning, everyone. My name is Adam, and this is my channel, Dukamon. I'm here to talk about how much I spent to build my LS3 engine in 2024. On top of that, I'm going to show you and tell you all the parts that I had to buy to build it. But before we get into the stitch, Lilo, I have to tell you why I even built this thing to begin with. Long time ago, in March of 2023, I was driving the car, saw some stuff on the road, did a little switcheroo, kept driving, and all I heard was a clang, 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 clang. I saw white smoke out the back. I pulled over to the shoulder. Lo and behold, the engine had blown. Whatever I saw on the road, I thought I swerved around it. Turns out, I must have hit something else. It took out the oil pan, everything went to shit. All I heard was a bunch of clanging around the engine, and then it just completely blew.
At least that's what I thought happened.
Until I found out what actually happened. It turns out I had the wrong pushrod length in the engine, and so my pistons were kissing the valves. It was my intake valves that were touching the pistons as the car was running, and I remember always hearing a loud, chattery valve train, and I never knew why. I always thought it was just the springs maybe, or whatever the case may be. Maybe, you know, I didn't know much about it honestly, but I was assured by some people that it wasn't an issue before. Turns out that might have been the issue the whole time. That thing blew up, and I went ahead and got the car towed to Chevrolet dealership, but when it got there, Chevrolet said, hey, we found the damage. We are ready to replace your engine. We just need to wait on your insurance company to come by and send their adjusters, and then blah, blah, blah. They sent an insurance person out there 2 different times. They took pictures and documented things, and all of a sudden, they said they're not gonna be liable for it. They said that it was just normal wear and tear. There was no accident. There was nothing for them to cover. So because it was normal wear and tear of the engine, they weren't liable for it. And so the car got towed back to my house, where I let it sit for 3 months. 3 months. 3 months. I did not even go into the garage. I didn't touch anything on that car for 3 months because I was so angry. I was so mad. I was so like, But after that, I got up one day and I said, you know what? Maybe I should think about replacing the engine myself. And I looked up how much a brand new engine costs, and a brand new engine at the time was like $6,000. It was like $6,500 to $6,700 shipped to my house, a new engine. And I said, well, I don't have that kind of money just sitting around, but I can maybe spend that over a period of time, payment wise, right? So I said, well, this is an LS3 engine. Everyone builds this engine. Everyone loves the LS engines. Everyone swaps these engines. Why not just learn how to build one? And here we are now. And I mean now, as in I've already built the engine, and I'm now making a video to tell you everything that I had to buy to build this thing. Oh, let's get into the build list. So each item that I have the part number next to it, and then how much I spent. I'm just gonna read right through this and we'll go for it. Number 1, engine block and machining plus the balancing. Engine block, I spent $900. Machining of the engine block from Scroggins Machine Shop located in Houston. That was $1,689. To balance the rotating assembly after I bought the rods, pistons, and all that stuff, that was $413. It would have been, I think, $313, but I paid an extra $100 to have the crankshaft index. That total was $3,002. Number 2, the rotating assembly. Pistons right there, that were $340. Rods, $509 shipped. The crankshaft, $544 shipped. Main cap bolts, $53. Main bearings, $50. Rod bearings were $14 each. Piston rings were $76. And the crankshaft QA was $20. So all of that brings our total for the rotating assembly to $1,682. For the camshaft kit, my favorite part of any engine, or at least an LS engine, I went with the BTR LS3 NA camshaft. It was a stage 2 V2 as in version 2. Part number is right here, 32581 blah, 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 blah. Pretty much that, $325 shipped. And then as you can see, I went with the 660 spring kit, and this is the part number right here for the spring kit. It was $260 shipped. You see I got the timing set right here for $115, timing chain for $60, cam retainer plate for $31, melting oil pump for $140. And all of this right here brings our camshaft kit total to $931. I know, crazy, but that's how much I spent for the cam kit. Now, we have the heads. The heads, I bought them used from eBay. They were the 821 LS3 cast heads from LS. That one came with the, I think, solid steel exhaust valves and the stainless steel intake valves, or it's vice versa. I don't remember, but they came with 2 different valves, right? They were $600 used from eBay. My stock valves, I just put 0 because I didn't change my valves. They came with the heads. And then my push rods were the 125. Now, obviously for the heads, while the valve train, the springs, retainer, that's all up here in this part right here. So you can really combine these two together because you're gonna put all these valve train parts into the heads, but it's whatever. For the heads, I spent $725. So other engine parts I have down here, you can only see part of it, but I'll flip to the other page, you can see the rest of it. So for the other engine parts, front cover was $35. The front cover bolts were from ICT Billet. They were $22. The rear cover bolts, $25. And then also the rear cover bolts from ICT Billet were $22. I got an eBay cheap oil pan, part number right here. That was $172, and it came with the bolts and the gasket. I got my oil filter, which is a PF48 AC Delco. That was $5 from Walmart. Windage tray, $27. That was an OEM windage tray. Pickup tube was $49. Windage tray bolts, I had to buy them because I was missing some, because when I got my car back from the dealership, I was missing some bolts. $12 for that, and I couldn't find a part number for it. Pickup tube and oil pump bolts, that was a kit, and they were $6 from ICT Billet. The cam sensor, this was the sensor that's in the front cover of the block. I could not get the old one out of my old block. It was just like, what do you call it when something is in something, and as it runs and gets and it heats up, it protrudes outward. I forgot what it's called, but it did that, and I couldn't get it out of the front cover, so I decided to not even try. I just bought another one for $51. Spark plugs were $50. I was told by my tuner to gap them to 40,000, but these spark plugs, the TR6 4177, are already gapped to 40,000. So you can double check them if you ever use them, but I didn't give a fuck. I just went ahead and threw them in the car and got it tuned and ran it. The oil gallery plug kit was $35. That brings our total other parts section to $511. Now, moving on to the gaskets. I got a brand new full gasket kit for the entire engine, minus me not having to really buy the oil pan gasket because our new oil pan came with the gasket. Now, our LS9 head gaskets, I bought the BTR ones. They were $100. If you get any LS9 gaskets for an LS, generally whoever sells them, they're all gonna sell them for the same price, right around $100. Front cover, valve cover gaskets from Felpro, and as you can see, our front cover, rear cover, valley cover, they're all from Felpro. We got $20 for the valley cover, $36 for the front cover, $20 for the rear cover, and $27 for the valley cover gaskets. Now, our rear cover came with that little plastic like tool thingy that's inside the little crank seal, and then our valve cover came with all the little individual valve cover bolt gaskets too. That brings the total of gaskets to $209. So just for the engine alone, I spent $6,992, basically $7,000 for the entire engine alone. And that's not counting the intake manifold because I already had mine. Now for tools, piston ring squaring tool, $22. Feeler gauge, $7. File, which I use to deburr the edges of the piston rings, that was $6. Our piston ring filing tool, which is basically little thing that I turn to file the piston rings, right? This was $20. Assembly lube was $10. And honestly, guys, the assembly lube, man, this a little bottle like this big. Man, you barely use any. It's so thick, you don't need a lot to do anything, honestly, but it's amazing. My assembly lube is a Lucas brand bottle, and it's green assembly lube. I don't remember where I bought it from, but I think it was like Advanced Auto Parts or AutoZone, something like that. I saw it somewhere in an auto parts store, and I went ahead and bought it. I knew it was from Lucas, and it's so thick, it's so good. I will buy the same one again if I find it ever again, but it's amazing, trust me. Loctite blue and red, that was $7. Brake cleaner, I bought 8 cans in the end, ended up being around $50. Just take advantage of the dollar stores and stuff like that. Mineral spirits, I bought 1 quart of mineral spirits from, I believe it was maybe Home Depot. And I used a Zep right here. I used the Zep chemical spray bottle, which is the one that was rated for like bleach and Lysol or whatever, to spray it in. But our mineral spirits was just $10 for the quart. The Moroso engine brush kit, that's what the brush kit that I used to actually clean the entire engine and the heads, that was $60. The Zep spray bottle was $8. The engine stand was $100 on a deal though. It was on a deal. The engine hoist was also on a deal, and I got it for $370. I bought them both from Harbor Freight. So my engine stand was a 1,000-pound rated engine stand from Harbor Freight, and my engine hoist was a 2-ton rated engine hoist from Harbor Freight as well. And then I bought, sorry. I bought 2 of the little flat wooden dolly carts. One of them was the flat one with the carpet on top of it, and the other one was the flat wooden one that had the little wooden planks kind of sectioned off, but they were like close to each other. I spent around 60 bucks for both of them. So that brings our total for the tools to be $730, which means our total of everything was $7,722. My God, I didn't expect it. Now, the very last section that we have here, I think is the most important one, because if you're watching this video wondering how much I might have spent to build an LS3 for me in 2024, and you're trying to compare it to maybe what you might end up spending, or maybe when you build yours, you might have an idea of what you might spend, you want to pay attention to this section right here. These are things that I did not have to buy that you would have to buy if you had to build your own. From scratch, of course, right? The harmonic balancer plus the bolt. I didn't put a price here because there's just so many options out there. There's too many options to really give you a price, so I just put a question mark because I really don't know. Mine's OEM, and I think it was around like maybe 80 bucks when I bought mine, but it was from Summit Racing and it just was whatever, so I had no issue with it. Now it's like 120 or 150, something like that for the same one, but around when I got it, it was like 80 bucks. The Valley cover, $50. Rockers, around 250. If you go with the OEM rockers, the rocker bolts are 15-ish. The CHE bronze bushing train upgrade kit, that's $240. Now, this is the most important thing you should probably buy. Get this. I don't give a fuck if your engine is stock. Get this kit. The bronze bushing kit, oh God, if I could talk about her. Just get it. Please just get the kit. Get the kit. Get the kit. Rocker pedestals, that usually will come with the heads, but if you end up getting heads that doesn't have your rocker pedestals, around $140. I don't know why, I just found the price and put it on here. Head bolts, $65. My head bolts are the ARP head bolts, not the ARP head studs, but the ARP head bolts. And I spent, I think, around like 80 for them when I bought them, but I put 65 because I really couldn't find the price, and there's still a such thing as stock head bolts. So 65 is pretty much a good price. Water pump, 170, already had mine. Crank sensor, 70 bucks. Crazy, right? I fucking know. That's why I didn't buy it. I still use my other one. Oil pressure sensor is 50 bucks. The oil temp sensor is 35 bucks. Now for the intake manifold, again, there's just too many options. I can't really put a price on there because it's just too many options. Now the OEM one for LS3 is right around like, I think it's anywhere from $450 to $500-ish dollars, maybe, something like that. If I'm wrong, I apologize, but I didn't have to buy mine, so who gives a fuck? Lifters are around $500. I went with the Gatorman link bar lifters. I found them on a website for Schmedding Performance. I think it's SH and then Medding Performance. No, I lied, sorry. I think the way you spell that is SMEDING, Schmedding Performance. And they sell these Gatorman link bar lifters that have like a huge range for your preload and a huge range for RPM. And dude, they're beautiful, and they're link bar, and I bought them for 500 bucks. Throttle body right here, $500. So that brings this last total of the things that I did not have to buy to $1,585. Now, obviously, we're not even counting the oil that you have to buy to start it up. And then that's just the break-in oil. So you got to change the oil right away, or change the oil in 500 miles or 20 miles or whatever. So you got to buy the oil again, the filter that you use, coolant if you got to do the whole coolant stuff. So honestly, man, you could easily spend over $9,000 to build an LS3.
That's right. It could have been way over 9,000, just like Vegeta said.
Now that was the build list for my LS3. Now I want to move on to screenshots because I want to show you some of the parts that I had to buy to get the whole job done. So right here we have the hose bar thread, whatever. The name is right there, but I use this and this in conjunction to prime my LS engine. Next, we have the engine stand bolt kit that I used to obviously hold the engine up to the Harbor Freight engine stand. I bought some other bolts that I found at Home Depot, and I ended up not liking them. The engine was leaning a little bit on the engine stand before I even got the heads on. So what I did was I bought this kit while the engine was still hooked up, and I just replaced each bolt on the four corners one at a time, and nothing fell, nothing broke, perfectly fine. Next, we have the Morosol valve checking springs, or otherwise you could just call them lightweight checking springs. I use these to find the push rod length and to find my piston to valve clearance. Here we have the rear cover alignment tool. It's basically right there, as the picture says. This is the front Yeah, this is the front timing bolt kit, rear timing bolt kit, I believe, and this is the oil pump and the pickup tube right here. King main bearings, just for the mains. You will see the part number when you get it. It'll say it somewhere right here or somewhere right there. That's what mine did. Mine had the part number right there. Move on from there. Let's actually open this all the way up. I don't know why I had it out. Zep spray bottle right here. This is the magnetic little arm thing that I use to find my piston to valve clearance and to find my crankshaft in play. I could not remember it for some reason, but I found it in my head. And obviously you use that with this. You can see down here in this little picture, you can see they're being used together. So let's see. This is the piston ring squaring tool that I used. This is the feeler gauge that I used. This is the file that I used, the crankshaft keyway, and this is the all the gaskets that I use for majority of them. Right here you have the front cover, the cam retainer plate, you got the valve cover, you got the other thicker AC Delco GM timing chain. You have your entire engine plug kit that came with the dowel pins for the heads, and you have the rear cover set right there. This is the valley cover, engine brush cleaning kit. Now, on eBay right here. Okay, so all of these that I showed you before this, and plus this one is all from Amazon, as you can tell. This is where eBay kicks in right here. We have the piston rings right here, front cover, rear cover, main cap bolts, heads, 3-bolt timing chain set, which came with the LS2 style timing chain guide. And then you have your entire timing set right here with the new harmonic balancer bolt, the bolts that go with this, and then the ARP bolts for the 3-bolt timing chain gear. Oil pump right here, obviously the 10295 from Melling. You have the valve spring kit right here. You can buy this shit from anywhere. And then we got the oil pan. So as you can see, the oil pan, this is the OEM part number right here. Obviously this is not OEM oil pan, but this is the OEM part number right here. Make sure if you're building a Corvette, you have to get an oil pan specific to the Corvette. You can't get like an LS3 oil pan. So if you're ever doing this, because I built this engine for my Corvette, if you're doing this on your own, make sure you get an oil pan for a Corvette, okay? You can't use any LS3 oil pan. Oh my God. Ugh. I really thought that I spent a lot less. I'm just so used to seeing these videos of people like 4 years ago when they were like, budget LS build, budget LS swap, 1,000 horsepower for less than whatever $1,000, and you know, da 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 da, and da 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 da, and I'm just like, I just assumed, I was like, I'm about to build this engine myself. I'm gonna spend $4,000 and it's gonna be, nope. I spent more than I would have spent if I bought a brand new one. But I'm not mad about it. I just remember seeing so much. There was just so many videos and so many categories and topics of LS builds that I completely underestimated what I was gonna have to put in to get the job done myself. I just didn't even realize at the time. And of course, I didn't count anything while I was buying these parts and while I was building everything, but it just turned out to be more than I thought, honestly. To be completely honest, I'm surprised I even had the balls to learn. Like, not that I'm not confident in myself, but dude, I never would have woke up a year and a half ago thinking I'd be building an LS3 in my room for my Corvette. Like, what are we talking about? What are we talking about here, right? Like, duh, but I would have never expected it. And here we are now. But all jokes aside, to be completely honest, like all my ex-girlfriends said, there's always a plan B. Now, we are reaching the end of this video, but I just want to jump into a quick ending session of Q&A. And I call it quick because there's only one question that I have to answer, which is, would I do it again? No, not really. Duh, of course I would do it again. Like, of course. Oh my God. Don't get me wrong though. There were times where I was afraid. There were times where I was like, man, what if I don't finish? Or what if I can't do it? What if I don't have the money to build this engine? Like, I was thinking of a lot of things that was ready to hold me back from finishing this project. But now that it's done, I really can't go back to being that person that didn't know any of this stuff, that had no knowledge of this stuff. I can't go back to being that guy. Now that I've leveled up in this way, and I do believe it's a level up, I can't go back to being the one that didn't know that this existed, that I had this potential, that I had this drive, this dedication, and that I just didn't, that I had this, what does it sound like? That attitude that, fuck it. I didn't know I had that in me until, booyah, engine blows up, and booyah, I built another one. Like, am I the only one that's crazy? I probably am the only one, but dude, I'm telling you now, like, I really had no idea. I really had no idea. And honestly, I have to say that I'm really looking forward to the future in this. You know, I've always loved these type of engines, and I want to build another one now. I want to build a 427. Shit, I just want to build anything. I want to build a Coyote. Like, I have interest in the Daza platform because I've always wanted an RS3. Blue one, of course. The Mustang Coyote, the S550, even the 650. I've loved these cars for so long, and you know, maybe I'll have the money for these things in one day, maybe I won't, but I will always appreciate what this passion has done for me, which is cars. And I'll always love it. So, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and get comfortable here. I did a lot of talking just now. I deserve a little nap. Peace out, y'all. I'll talk to y'all some other time. Go get some food, get out of here, go eat or something while you're still here. Egg rolls, get some egg rolls. Sushi too, that works as well. Good night.